Okay, good evening everyone. I welcome you all for this another tutorial in C++, that is structure intro to implementation. So if you want to know about structure, we have to know a little bit about arrays. So before getting into structure, I will just brush up the arrays and we will be seeing what is arrays and how all we can use those arrays into, how we can transform the arrays into a structures. Fine. So when we studied arrays, we know that arrays is nothing but group of elements or values of same data type, right? So I think so you won't be having any doubt in arrays. Fine. So what if I want to do a program where I have group of values or set of values with different data types? So when I have different data types and all those values are grouped into one, so values to one entity. So in this case, what happens is we cannot use arrays, because the definition of arrays goes like this, like group of values of same data type. For example, if you want to store 10 integer values, then you can use arrays. So for example, you want to store 10 values, 10 all of different. For example, one is of integer data type, one is of character, one is of double. And if you want to group all these things under one entity, say a name of a student, or not name of the student, we can say it as student data. Okay, I am going to gather a data about a student. So a student will be having a character as his name, double as his phone number, integer as his roll number, or whatever it may be. So in this cases, we cannot use arrays, because arrays is simply a group of elements or values with the same data type. So structure is not like that. Structure is something group of data but of different data types. So I do create a new layer. Fine. So let's get into structures now. So when you get structure, we have the syntax of it, how we are going to write as like of arrays. So before getting into structure, I will also introduce this keyword like struct, which is used to create a structure. Okay. And again, another one point here, structure is a user defined data type, whereas array is a derived data type. So array, we are deriving it from the basic data type like integer, characters and floats. So that comes under derived data type. Structure, we are defining a separate data type. For example, we are student, that's now an example that we have seen. Student is a data type that we are going to create on it, and we are going to create values for those student data type. Fine. How to create a structure? So we have started with an example for structure for a student. So let us further see that as an example. Structure for students. Fine. So here I have to start with the keyword struct, and then I have to give a name to the structure, which is, for example, now here I will give you a student. So this student become as the user defined data type now. So this is our user defined data type. Fine. So what all the values this data type can store, that we have to give within a block. For example, this student data type can store an integer value. So simply for this integer value I'm taking as roll number, and it can store a name, for example character name of 25. So now it can store a name. So now these two are two different data values. One is integer type of value and another one is character type of values. So these type of values, when you are grouping into one single entity, we cannot use arrays. That's why we are using structures. So fine. And here everything by default it is public. So this we have to remember throughout the programming. So whatever you are defining inside the structure, for example, these we call it as structure elements, like roll number and name. These are the structure elements, or else we can say it as structured data. So these structured data you can access anywhere inside a program using an object. So after creating this structure, if you want to use any value that you have defined inside the structure, then you have to create a structure variable. So now for creating a structure variable, you have to follow two things. What are those two things? One is, how will you create a normal integer variable? I will create a normal integer variable like int a. So this is a built-in data type, so I am directly using it. Now the data type that what I have created is student. So now I have to create a variable for this data type, which becomes a structure variable. For example, here I am giving it as s. Now s is a structure variable and student is the user defined data type. So this becomes as the user defined data type, and this is our structure variable. Fine. And now I'm going to correlate this structure variable with the normal variable that we used to create. Here integer is nothing but a built-in data type. So I don't want to create, since it is built-in, I don't want to create any type of prototype for it or any type of definition for it. So it is built-in, so I'm directly used int, and a is a value. So now this a is a variable where it can store any value of integer variable, which can store a value of type integer. Okay, fine. Now when I am defining a variable a of type integer, it can store an integer value. When I am defining a variable of type student, what it can store? So it can store the type of elements and the group of set of elements that what we have given over there. For example, if you see in layer 2, here we have created roll number and name. So these are the two values which can be stored inside this structure variable s. Fine. So with a small example how to implement inside a program, I will illustrate how a structure can be used inside a program. Fine. Let's get into this program. I am going to create a new project. So in this new project I am creating a console application. In this console application, fine, I'm going to give a name as structure and yes, fine. Now my project has been created. So in this project I'm going to the main. So this is the main program, and this is the default template which we are getting in. Fine, I'm just deleting the statement that whatever we want. Now before starting a program, I have to create my structure. So how to create a structure? The structure is created with the keyword strut and with the name of the structure or the user defined name of the user defined data type that what we want to give. So sorry, it says commit a student some default value. Let me change this to student. Oh shit, sorry. Student. Fine. So inside this student, this is a structure I have created, and what type of values it can store. I'm going to take two values. One is int roll number and another one is character name of 5. Fine. So these are the two values that I am going to get for this data type that I have newly created data type, that is student. Now I'm going to get the value for these things inside this main program. How to get it? So if I want to access any one of this roll number or name inside my main function, the first step what I told you is I have to create a structure variable. So structure variable can be created in two ways. One is by creating a normal variable, like creating a structure variable like a normal variable, giving the data type. This is the user defined data type that what you have created, and giving the variable name. So this is one type of creating a structure variable. The another type of creating a structure variable is before closing this semicolon, if I type the structure variable over here, so this also a structure variable. Okay, fine. And if you want to give after the semicolon, then you have to give the user data type first, like user defined data type that what you have created, and then we have to create the structure variable. Fine. So now I'm going to get the value like scene s dot roll number, and then I'm going to get gets s dot name. So here if you notice, I cannot use the roll number whatever I've created inside this structure directly without using this variable name. So this is like I have to mention the roll number is being defined inside what. For example, the roll number is not a normal integer variable like I have given roll number over here. So this is the roll number that what I have created inside this structure student is not like the normal integer variable. It is a variable, it is an element inside a structure. So if I want to access anything inside a structure, then I can access it through only the structure variable and the dot operator. That is what mentioned over here. So S is the structure variable. So using this S and dot, that is a referencing operator. So roll number inside the structure S. So that is what it means. So data type is a student, S is the variable. This variable can hold two type of values. One is roll number and another one is name. So in the very first line, I am taking the value of the roll number, and roll number that belongs to structure student. That's why I mentioned that variable S. Fine. So now I am going to display it like cout s dot roll number, and I can give endl over here like endl s dot name. Fine, let us execute this program. I don't know, this output window cannot be captured in the screen recording, so surely okay, it is showing as an error. Fine, I have to include the header file for get, that is hash include stdio.h. Fine, there is a question mark extra fix. Fine, I'm waiting for the output window. Yeah, I got the output window, and first it is asking for the roll number. So I'm going to type as 5, and okay, it got printed. Fine, there is some problem in it. So instead of scene gets, Now what I'm going to take is just scene s.name, because there is some buffer issue which we have to clear it. I haven't cleared it since I don't have any time to explain why the leave the buffer over there. Sorry, leave the endline character in the buffer over there. I will explain it in a separate tutorial. So I have executed the program again. So here I am getting the roll number and the name with the standard input statement, that is cin. So I'm entering 5 and entering the name James. Fine, I got this output. So I will copy this output and I will display it over here. That is 5 James. These are the two inputs that I have given, and this is the output. And if you want to differentiate this thing, let me give out a cout statement over here, like cout, enter the input, semicolon, C, paste your output as. Fine. Let me save this program and execute this. So I'll show you what I got in the output window. I'll copy that output, whatever I have got, and I will display that to you. I think so the function is already running. So just now I closed it and executed again. Oh, it's showing an error over here. Let's close it. Execute. Okay. It is asking for me to enter an input. So first I am typing the roll number and the name is James. Yeah. I got the output like Control C, close this, Control V, paste it over here. Yeah, this is what I have got as an output. Like I haven't give endl over here. That's why this 5 has sticked along with this output. So if I give endl, fine. So now for this program, this will be the output that you get. Fine. So here further, if you want to see, student has two values like roll number and names, and I am assessing the roll numbers and the names through the structure variable s. So this is getting the value for one student. If I want to get it for 3 students, I'll make this structure variable as an array and I give this inside a for loop. Now this is like giving array to using arrays inside the structure. So combining all the things that what we have studied, we can make really a wonderful program. And as close it, I am going to get 3 inputs and I will copy paste this for loop over here for the 3 outputs. Control V, open brace, and I give a close brace over here. Fine, I need this statement to be executed only once, so let me give it out of the statement. Now, okay, go to plugins and A style, align your program. So I don't want to worry about why my program is not indented properly and all those things. So it will indent properly according to however I want. This is what the very powerful plugin to align your input. Sorry, to align the indentation of your program. I have deleted the output. So now if I execute this program, so what happens is, so since I have created this structure variable as an array, I have to mention over here the index of array for taking the input. So s of I, again it goes from, okay, let me explain it in writing. So add a new one, delete it, fine. Okay, so how it do is, so I have given student s of 3. Now this structure, one structure variable s has 2 entities inside it, that is roll number and another one is the name. Now I have created three different instances. So that is s of 0, s of 1 and s of 2. So we know array index starts with 0. So I have created three instances of this structure variable. What is this instances? I will explain in the next video. So this statement is equivalent to creating a three structure variable like student s1, s2, s3. S3. Instead of creating this three structure variable, I have put all those three into a single array. So that is the use of array that we already know. Fine. So this kind of categorizing the structure variable into arrays will help us in taking values of a same set of values n number of times as how we wish. Fine. So now since this s of 3 have created three instances, so this is being created three times. Okay, so now whenever I want to take an input for a particular student, so I want to mention for which instance of these three I am going to take it. So for that I have to mention the index value properly. Simply if I give s over here, it will show me an error. If I give s, that will show us an error. So I have to mention the index whenever I am using arrays for my structure variable. So that was being explained in this, like okay, this is what I have explained, that three instance variables that I have created, like s3 that is into s0, s1 and s2, that create three different instances. So if I create one variable of student s, what happens, I'll get a copy of roll number and the name inside this s. So this is that variable s which has two values, roll number and the name. So this is when I create only one variable, like student s. Okay, when I create one variable, this s contains two values, roll number and the name. When I create structure with an arrays like s of 3 that created three instances, that is s0, s1 and s2. So this statement, as I said, it is equal to creating three different structure variable like s1, s2 and s3. Instead of creating structure variables differently, I know all these structure variables are going to store different values but of the same data type, the students. So, and I have a concept called arrays, so I simply use the concept arrays inside the structure for the structure variable, and I've created these three instances. So once these three instances have been created, the copy of the elements of the structure, that is roll number and the name, that will be copied to each and every one of these three instances. So when I say s0 dot roll number, so that is going to directly assess the roll number from s of 0. So it's nowhere it's going to s of 1 or s of 2. So this is a advantage of using arrays inside the structures, so that I can take n number of values for the same structure or for frame set of values. So this is helpful when I'm creating a structure for a bank employee, or when I'm creating a structure for a complex numbers. If you want to take more than 10-15 complex numbers, instead of creating 10 different structure variables, I create one structure variable and I make that as an array with a size of 10. So that is equal to creating a 10 different complex number or 10 different bank employee details or bank customer details, 10 different student details, or whatever it might be. Fine. So getting back to the program. Okay, now if you see in this program, that is what exactly I have did. I have created a structure for three students, and I have given inside a for loop, because I don't want to write c in s0 dot roll number, s0 dot name, c in s1 dot roll number. Instead of repeating that set of statements, I can use a for loop to execute that 2 statements for the 3 iterations, and I can get the values of 3 different students. Fine. So if I want to go so precisely, I can give a cout statement over here, like cout enter the value for double quotes I plus 1 double quotes space student. And here also I like to give a space, otherwise it will come so close. Fine. And I give an enter. Fine. So now each and every time this for loop executes, it's okay, there's a spelling mistake in enter. Okay, ENTR. Okay, fine. So each and every time the for loop is executing, there will be a display statement like enter the value for I, since the index I'm starting from 0, I have added 1. So simply if it displays enter the value of the 0th student, that won't be fine. So that's why it's like this. So fine. Let me execute this. Okay, before execute, I'll copy the statement and I'll give it for this output as well. And I mention the value of, so I'll take out this enter and I'll change this to the value of. Fine. I save this program, Control A, align this program and execute it. Fine. Waiting for, okay, it's throwing me some input, like I don't know what's the s dot name, what's the problem in it, roll number. Okay, I didn't mention the index over here for the s, so that's what it's showing an error. If you note down this error, request for the member name in s, which is of non-class type student 3. So it is clearly mentioning that it has 3 and which out of those 3 instance value that you have to display. Now the computer got confused, or the compiler got confused. So you have blindly mentioned only s. I have 3 s, that is s of 0, s of 1 and s of 2, from where I have to display these values. So here I have to mention the exact index values. Okay, so now it won't throw me an error, it will straight away go to a window. Fine, I got the output window and enter the value of the first student. That is what the thing I got. I'm entering the roll number as 1 and the name as ABC. Enter the value for 2 student. It's a little funny, let it be. It's saying that enter the value of 2 student. So that is second student basically. And I entered 2 and I have entered CDEF. And okay, it have got the value only for 2 students. Why? Oh, since I have mentioned the value is equal less than 2, it has taken only the value for 2 students. I'll just close this, I'll execute it again. And okay, before executing, I want to give an handle over here. Let me give a handle also over there. So handle, fine. Even a handle. Oh, alright, okay, fine. So now let me execute it. So I don't know, the output window is not being captured. When you're okay, enter the input value for 1 student, that is 1 ABC, second student 2 ABC. So instead of giving ABC, let me give DF, and now we got the 3 student GHI. Fine, I got the output as well. I'm just copying this output. Copy it, man. I'm just copying the output and I'll display it over here for your reference. So if you see, enter the input, so that's for the first line. After that, endl, the for loop is executing, enter the value of I plus 1. So that is I is 0, 0 plus 1, that is 1 student. and it has taken the value of s of 1, s of 0. So how this value has got stored, let me explain that to you, how this value has got stored. Fine. Let me switch the screen. Let us get into this. Fine. We have created 3 instances, that is s of 0, s of 1 and s of 2, and we also said each one of these instances will have the copy of the element that whatever I have created. So it's roll number, name, roll number, name, roll number, name, and for the third instance also roll number, name. So inside a structure I have created roll number and name. So when I created these 3 instances, so the structure element is copied to each one of these 3 structure variables. So now when the for loop is executing, first I have given the value of, that is 5. So that 5, okay, not 5, I think so, it's 1 I have given. Let me get back to the program. Let me check what is the value I have given. Okay, I have given 1. So enter the value of for one student. Okay, see in s1 of I dot roll number. So I, the value of I over here is 0. So whatever I am entering over here, so that will get back to this value, that is roll number 1, s of 0, and the name that I have entered over here is ABC. So now the values of roll number and name that I have entered for s of 0 that have got stored over here. When the loop iterates for the next time, the value of I gets incremented, that I becomes 1. So s of I will mention s of 1. So whatever value I am giving for s of 1 dot roll number and s of 1 dot name will get stored over here, that is DEF. And the next time when the loop executes, the value that I have entered will come over here like GHI. So this is how the value I've got stored. So when I display, what happened? Again there also I have mentioned the indexes. So in the display as well. So there when I go, I give like a cout s of I dot roll number and s of I dot name. So this is what the statement that I have given over there in the cout statement. If you want to take a look, just take a look at it. So this is the statement that I have given, cout s of I dot roll number and LCF cout or s of I dot name. So here okay, let me switch back to the screen so that you can see it. So when the cout s of 0 comes, the value from s of 0 is displayed. So it is not going to display any value from s of 1 or from s of 2. So this is how the arrays inside the structure will work. I hope you might have understood the structures and how the structure works. So whenever an output program is being asked, for example, to find out the output with the structure and all those things, and if they have given the structure variables arrays, please try to make these instances like this and give the values those 2 instances whatever they might have, whatever they have given. Fine. So and there is another way of creating, so this is like getting the value of a structure during the runtime. So what happens, I don't want to get the value of this structure during the runtime. I have to give it straight away while typing the program. So I don't want to give this value. I have to give the value straight away. So first I'll explain with a one variable, and later we can, okay, I can put all these things in comments because later I will be in need of this. So I am keeping all these things in comments. Fine, I don't want to retype the program. Basically a lazy guy. Control C output, and I'm displaying the elements. Now there is only one variable, so I don't want the index to be mentioned. Okay, sorry, I have deleted S. Fine. So let me delete this outputs as well over here. Fine. So now how to assign a value to a structure variable? So simply I have to give a equal to, and I have to give like 1 comma, and since that is a string, I will give it as ABC. So let us check whether this program is giving the output as 1 and ABC. Fine. Okay, I have to press F9. Mistakenly I have typed something else. I'll close this, I'll execute this. Perfect. It has given me the output what I expected, that is, this was the output. So this is assigning the value of the structure directly, like roll number. So you have to follow the order. I cannot give ABC comma 1 over here. I have to follow the order in which the elements have been arranged inside the structure variable. If the roll number is the first one, and the value what I am going to assign first inside this bracket will go to the roll number. So you have to follow the order in which you have created the structure element. The same order you have to give the values to that too. Fine. So now you have seen that s.roll number and s.name is printing the values exactly whatever we have defined in it. Fine. So how to give the values to arrays, like s of 2, let me give it as, so now this is one set of value, so I give this another bracket, and I have to give another set of value, then I will put inside a block, another block, that is 2 comma inside a bracket like df colon, and is there anything missing? Yes, the end bracket is missing. So Control S, let me close the previous window, output window, execute it again. Okay, now it is giving me yes. So now I can delete this statement. Now I can make use of this for loop. This is why I haven't, deleted this statement. Okay, so now it has to give me the expected output. Okay, I got the output as what we have expected. Close this, and this is the output that I have got. Like value for one student, yeah, that is 1 and ABC. Okay, I haven't given an endl over here. So if I would have given an endl, so what would have happened is, so this value would have come the next line. Yep, fine. So this is what the output that I have got for the program that what you have typed over here. So now if you see, we have learned how to get the values of the structure during the runtime, and how to get the value, how to assign the values to a structure during the compile time, that is during typing the program in a layman's language. I hope you might have understood this and the way that we are using a structure inside this. So there is nothing difficult in using structures. It is the simplest way of organizing the different values into a single unit. Basically, if you say it's like that, instead of giving roll number and name, like inside a main and getting it for 10 times, I'm giving it a name like a struct. I'm giving it a student, and I'm defining that as a separate data type. That's why structure goes into a user defined data type. I hope you all might have understood it. So if you have any doubts, you can just comment it on this video so that I can really solve your doubts. Okay, fine. Oh shit, I haven't switched the screen, so you couldn't be able to see the outputs. Sorry. So now you can see the output of this program very clearly. So this is how you will be assigning the value of the structure, that is initializing the value of the structure. So if you give s of 2, I have given one set of value over here, that is for s of 0, and this is another set of values, that is for s of 1. Got it? And this is the output which I have got for that. Really sorry guys, while I'm typing I didn't switch back to the screen. It's in live. I have forgotten it. Okay, so I want you to just quickly come on the chat line and ask your doubts if you have any. or else we can wind up this class by this. Any doubts? Waiting for your doubts, guys. Okay, why isn't a for loop used to take a input for arrays and used inside the structure? Sanjit, if this is the doubt, like why isn't a for loop used to take input for arrays? So we use for loop basically to take input of an array. So this is a program that I have shown is like directly assigning the values to a structure, that is initializing the value. For example, we always know we have two types of getting a value for a variable. Like one is initializing int a is equal to 10, and this is like initializing the value, and another way of taking a value to any variable is, for example, if I have another variable b, and if I want to take the value during the runtime, I take c in b. So this is while runtime, isn't it? So this is like taking runtime input, means taking the input during the runtime. Fine. And this is basically the initialization. Like I should have mentioned initialization. Yeah, this is basically initialization, giving the initialization to a structure variable. If you are not initializing this value, then let me do a control C so that you'll get that program. This program which okay, I'm just undoing. Yeah, so this is for getting the value during the runtime for the structures as an array, structure variable as an array. So here if you see, we have used a for loop clearly to get the value, isn't it? And if your doubt is talking about the previous example, yeah, used inside the structure, like gets does it all. Okay, your Sanjit, again I'm getting back to you. Gets is a function, that is a user defined function which is used to get the string value. So gets, that is only for using a string value. I cannot get a structure value with the gets. Gets is not get structure, get is get a string. So I cannot use gets for getting the values of the structure. I hope your doubt might have got cleared. If still your doubt is on, please let me know. Any doubts? Sanjit? Okay. For any further doubts, I wish if you ask the doubts in the comments line so that I can go and give the doubts in the comments, and give your doubts in the comments. I can clarify your doubts with another video or with answering to those comments. Okay, fine. And thank you very much for watching this online tutorial. Thank you, and see you in the next tutorials. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and like this video. Thank you.